Hello everyone once again and welcome to our webinar for today. My name is Ivona Cheng and I'm a member of the GDC, one of the supporting team members for the Innovation Challenge, and I'll be your host for today with the support of my colleague, Hawen Jensen, who will be taking care of all the technical aspects. So we had more than 20 people register for this particular webinar, which was really nice. And currently we have a few who've just logged in and we hope they'll log in as we proceed. So as we move on to the first slide, the purpose of this call is just to inform you about the innovation and see how you can get engaged as part of this innovation that will benefit all the members, so we can share all the learnings and also contribute to this particular innovation. So the rules of this game is that one, we will keep all ourselves muted and only have one person who's speaking who will be the presenter. And for those who are not able to join today, sorry, we will have this webinar recorded so that they can be able to view later. So about this challenge, the GDC Innovation Challenge was a crowdsourcing of innovative ideas from our members who have knowledge of how to crack the last mile distribution challenge, and which we selected a pilot idea that we can support and present to our community. And we can help this and replicate this and learn from these kind of innovations in our particular landscapes. So about this particular innovation, so the agenda for this webinar is to introduce the innovation, and this will be an opportunity for you to hear about it and also give some of your comments and support where you can. And before we finish the call, we have 15 minutes later for Q&A sessions that you can all participate. So since we are not that many, if you are able to ask a question, please raise your hand and we will unmute you and you can ask your question directly. So for this particular innovation and why we selected it as a GDC, it is a low-cost rent-a-shelf model kiosk that is supported by the community and co-created together with the community, and it gives the women an opportunity to actually be entrepreneurs themselves, which is a very feasible and sustainable business idea. And this also enables the other GDC members to be able to sell through the Ecobora kiosks at an optimal cost. So from here, I will give this opportunity to Justin, who's the idea of this particular innovation, who will speak about Ecobora and what they've been doing in the past and this particular innovation as well. Over to you, Justin.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for the good introduction. My name is Justin Nabuga. I'm the founder of Ecobora company. And so basically, Ecobora for the past 5 years, we've been involved in the green energy space, whereby we've been producing and selling wood pellets as a green energy source to rural communities as a means of trying to allow them access green energy. And we have been doing that for the past 4 years. And as a company, one of the biggest problems we faced is these rural communities who are living below $2 a day to afford and access our energy solutions. And we use that challenge as a motivation to think and how might we allow these communities, most of these families who are deserving to access clean and affordable energy. And when we saw this opportunity to join and work through GDC, we came up with this solar kiosk model, which was born through a feedback from the women, which we were using as sales agents, who are going to communities to sell pellets, to these communities. And we saw this as a good point to try and pilot this out. And that's why we are calling it solar kiosk, which we foresee it as being an inexpensive way of allowing last mile distributors like ourselves to access space in the solar kiosks, through which we can be able to push green energy and other life-changing products to the communities. And yeah, in this pilot, we shall be creating 10 solar kiosks, and these solar kiosks, they shall be inexpensive, bifrugal by design, and they'll cost a few $100 to set up, and they'll be set up in these specific communities. We'll set up in these communities, and they'll be run by these women groups whom we'll choose. And then we are going to use local materials to start these solar kiosks, and thus ensuring that we don't compromise on quality and security of the solar kiosks, but at the same time ensure that the solar kiosks are affordable in terms of equipping these women groups. Then secondly, we are focusing to work with local women entrepreneurs. Commonly in Kenya, we call them the chamas. These women groups, these are already existing women groups who have this saving culture, whereby they've been saving for art activities like ensuring that each member of the group can access school fees with their students. If maybe one of the member group is sick, they can donate. Maybe their funerals, they always come together and support each other financially. So these women groups are having this strong bond, and behind the bond, they also have these savings. So this makes them like the right target, which Ecobora we are going to work with. Their purpose could be for them to sell Ecobora briquettes as a first goal in these solar kiosks. And then secondly is to sell their own agric produce. And as I said, these women, they are small-scale farmers. And by we giving them a small platform to sell their products, we feel like the solar kiosks will be now opening up rural and contested markets, for both the women and for we as LMDs. Yeah, and then last mile distributors like ourselves now can come in and rent a shelf whereby they can be able to, you can be able to sell your products like solar lanterns and other fast moving goods. So this, at the end of the day, should be able to reduce your cost of door-to-door marketing or transporting to, or maybe educating people in these rural setups to understand your products. And at the end of the day, these markets or these women will do this for you. And thus, we hope to reduce your cost of sales and marketing your products. Lastly, our idea will allow you members to sell, through these solar kiosks, to sell to these women groups, because there are groups of at least 50 people plus with the community. So these are huge market for you, first of all. And so this will allow you to sell at optimal cost, which also will allow you guys to access a huge market and increase your profit. And lastly, we believe that this will be an easy model for you guys to replicate in your own businesses if you find it sustainable and profitable. Yeah, so the way we envision this setup is very simple. We first of all go the community youth or women there and make them our sales agents. But through this model, we want to tap into this vast network of women, because women are very connected, more than one. They belong to women group. Into this vast network, people can spread the word of your store, of your lantern, of your product to a vast number of women. And this will allow you to have more sales with minimum cost. So that's the first thing we envision, to use this network to ensure we push sales of our products. Number two, as I said, we not only use any women. So even if you bring products, even if it's a water filter of like $5 or $50, since these women have savings, so these women can we can use their savings, or a member of the group can use their savings as a loan. You know, they can take a loan from the group to pay if that's with this as a factor to a member doesn't pay us back, as savings in the group can be used, you know, to pay for what he took. So basically, that we see as our biggest win for us. So we being able to use their savings as a means to de-risk for our products. That's will give we as LMD security to work with these women and stock our products with them. And then what makes us most exciting is that these solar kiosks, they're run and owned by women. So unlike previously, so we are going to give these solar kiosks to these women. We'll give them the autonomy to run these solar kiosks. So by doing that, these women will really feel they're empowered, and thus they'll really do their best ways to sell their products, since they believe that they're working for themselves. They're not working for Ecobora or the LMDs, so they know, like, you know, we are owning this up. So there's a sense of ownership, which means that the women will do the best perfect job to ensure that all products are secure, they're stored correctly, and they can really accrue more sales, because the more the sales they make, the more the profit, the more the commission earn. So I think this is the biggest motivation factor for these women. And another point is these women will pay it forward. So the way it happens, the women now, after 6 to 9 months, they will pay back to Ecobora the cost of setting up this infrastructure. I mean, the solar kiosk and the solar itself, and the same money which now is remitted will now be used to go to another village and create another solar kiosk. So what makes these women love this model is because they're using the profit or commission they've earned by the sales they make to pay for the cost of this stuff. And thus, by we getting this money, we'll use it to pay forward and create more solar kiosks for the LMDs and create more markets. So that's how we envision it. And lastly, women groups, they are vital sales force. So if you as an LMD want also to pursue to combine renting a solar kiosk and using sales agents, we'll give you vetted, tested women whom you can train and equip them with your products, which now they can go out to the village and do door-to-door. So you can combine door-to-door sales using our women group, and then kind of combine with the sales in the solar kiosks to ensure you reap your sales. Yvonne, the next slide. Good. Just to allow you understand what the nature of products we envision to sell or stock in our solar kiosks. So this is not limited to, the women can sell solar lamps, water filters, cook stoves, solar lamps, and other products which you LMDs might be having. So this will just require just a small training for them to understand your nature of your products. And then if you want to pursue them to be your sales agent, you also want to talk to them in terms of how do you share profit or commission for the number of sales they give you. So Ecobora will facilitate you to meet with these women to pursue these conversations on the commission and the profits. And if you want them to understand the product education, we can always facilitate this for you to ensure that women understand the will be stocking oil, milk, and other life-changing products. And these women, the women also will stock their agri products. So as I said, we want to give them a market for their products, since most of them spend time in the morning in their farms, in the evening the solar kiosks. And lastly, we even envision stocking soaps and paraffin. So in a nutshell, we are creating this one-stop shop in this rural area, whereby most last mile distributors are finding it will make it less risky for you guys and less expensive for you to trade. And hopefully, by we having this cocktail, if you may, of our products, the women can have a lot of profit and commission, which now will allow them to thrive and move towards sustainability of this solar kiosk. The next slide, Yvonne. So yeah, this is now where we are requesting you guys as LMD to participate, because we believe that if all of us can participate to make this pilot a success, we must distributors to benefit from these solar kiosks, which GDC is helping us up to set up. So there are many ways you guys can participate, and one of the easiest way is you guys are coming down and renting
Yvonne speaking. Justin just dropped off. Apologies for the intermittent connection. If there were any questions or something was unclear, please just drop your questions on the chat box. I see Justin is back.
Yeah, sorry, where did I lost you guys?
You can start on the slide on how you can participate.
Okay, sorry. So sorry for the connection from my side. So there's a lot, this is how we as the LMDs can participate to ensure that we can sort of utilize the 10 solar kiosks GDC will be helping us set up in 10 various locations in Kenya. So one of the simplest way you guys will really participate and benefit is by you guys renting a shelf, because if you rent a shelf, you'll reduce your cost of sales, and our women will work around the clock to ensure that you guys will increase your revenue. So that's the first way you'll do that. And what will just happen is that we'll just need to educate the women on the products, and you will agree with the women in terms of commission or profit sharing. So when that's done, your work will just be sending these women the products, and then you will be watching and maybe maintaining your inventory from your offices, and you'll be collecting your inventory by mobile money. So it will be a very seamless process, and I think we're very excited to look forward to test it and work to ensure you guys can increase your revenue. Secondly, I want you guys to tap into the sales force of these women. As I told you, women, they know each other. They're good in doing what you call door-to-door or mouth-to-mouth word kind of sales. So I want us to tap into that to ensure that we can be able to sell our products, not only to these women groups, but also the community at large. And then thirdly, through this solar kiosk, you can be able to access new markets which has never been contested. So, which I think with your innovative products, the communities will be much eager and anticipated to sort of try them out and learn how they work, with an aim of them trying to see how can they improve their lives. So that's one thing you guys will receive on your hand. You will receive these new uncontested markets, and which will drive your sales, hopefully, on the acoustic way. Then what we think will be vital for your business is you'll learn and test this solar kiosk model, which we hope that after the success, you can be able to replicate back in your businesses and use it the best way possible to have more sales in areas whereby you have never been able to reach. And then lastly, what makes these solar kiosks frugal and exciting is access of data. So we will be giving you members access of data sales from your products to other products in the kiosks. So you'll be able to know which products works best in those solar kiosks. You'll be able to know in your array of products, which is the best-selling products, which will advise you in terms of how you're able to market, customize, and distribute your products. And I think this will be the biggest win for we as LMDs, being able to access this data for us to plan in terms of distributing and even pricing and marketing and branding our products. So the last slide, Yvonne. Yeah, so I think it's a Q&A session. If maybe there's any question, I think I welcome the questions in the chat.
Thank you very much, Justin, for the insightful presentation and taking us through the Ecobora rent-to-shelf model. So any questions you can ask on the chat, maybe not use the chat box because we are not so many. You can just raise your hand and we can unmute you and you can just ask the question in the forum. Yes, Joe?
Hi, can you hear me?
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello,
we can
can you
hear
hear me?
you. Yes. Hello?
We have one share now. I think so.
Okay, so she mentioned that she'll ask her question on the chat.
Okay.
So we'll give her a few minutes. Yes, she has just put her question on the chat and she asks, will Ecobora's operations be expanding beyond Kenya in the near future?
That's a good question. So basically, our plan right now is to validate this pilot. Although before we came up with the pilot, we had a lot of assumptions, feedback from the women all through. But right now, we want to validate the profitability and the scalability of this model. And yes, if within the next 9 months, this gets to get a success, we'll be eager to expand because for the past 2 months, we've been getting contacts from Burundi and Rwanda to try and replicate the same. Yeah, if it works, we'll be very, very eager to work with you guys, or maybe to even support your enterprises to run and set up the same solar kiosks.
Thank you, Justin, for the elaborate response. Any more questions from the team?
I could go. So this is Gerwin. I'm actually one of the GDC support members. I've been working with Justin for a while now, so it's good to hear again, Justin, what your project is all about and what makes it unique as compared to the other solar kiosk models that have been implemented before. So I just had a question on the list of products that you're planning to sell through the retail shops. And I saw, besides solar lanterns, which is obvious when you're running solar kiosk, you also listed paraffin. And of course, solar lanterns are supposed to be a good substitute for paraffin, given the problems with paraffin candles and the likes, kerosene. So what is your standpoint on this? So why would you still want to sell paraffin if you want to introduce more environmentally and safer fuels and energy products to people?
Thank you, Gavin, for the good observation. So I think here I was supposed to mean like petrol for motorbikes, because normally these are rural areas, and people spend quite some time going to buy and stock their petrol for their motorbikes. So I think instead of using paraffin, I could have edited and written maybe motorbike fuel. Yeah, that's what I tried to mean.
That clarifies. Thanks, Justin. Thanks.
Sorry, that's a typo.
That's okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Harwin, for jumping in. Any more questions from the team? Or even if it's not a question, a comment, a clarification. So remember, this webinar is just to inform you about the idea and open up the platform for you to actually give comments or support this idea in any way possible based on your knowledge.
Yeah, Yvonne, maybe as we wait for a question or a comment, maybe I think something I missed. The way we envision this is that maybe the LMDs or the fast moving consumer goods will facilitate them to be able to come up and have an MOU or a contract with these women groups. Basically, the MOU will just basically outlining the agreement in terms of the profit or commission sales. So basically, the LMDs, they don't pay Ecobora to do this. Basically, we are like a bridge, if you may, to these women groups. And so basically, this will be, because right now, we have already signed MOUs with these women groups, MOUs for them to have these solar kiosks and use them as a sales point to sell our products and even LMD's products. And so our MOU allows them to invite LMDs to stock their products. That's one way to ensure you guys are secured in that aspect. So just to ensure you guys ensure that your products are protected and your money is protected. So will facilitate for you guys to have an MOU with these women, which will stipulate in terms of how you'll be sending them their stock, how they'll be paying you. Is it cash? Is it weekly, daily? Is it using mobile payments the way you'll want to? So basically, there will be an MOU protecting between you guys and the women, so that your goods can be safe as we pilot.
Thank you, Justin, for the clarification and extending that invite to the rest of our members. Just for clarification's sake as well, is there any limitation to the products that the GDC members can sell through your rent-a-shelf model?
The only thing we are limiting here, Yvonne, is we can't allow charcoal, we can't allow paraffin for lanterns, and we can't allow firewood. So there's those unclean lighting and cooking technologies, we can't allow them. But cooking technologies which have been tier 3, clean cook stove, clean, briquettes, pellets, all those lantern lamps, those are allowed. So the only thing we don't allow, paraffin for lanterns, charcoal, and firewood. So in our MOU between Ecobora and the women, we stated out clearly we can't allow them to stock these. Because the aim of this also is to allow them to move into greener, green energies, because we know the benefits of them moving into that.
Thank you, Justin, for the clarification. So the chat box is still open for questions or clarification or comments as we proceed. And one last thing I'd want probably Justin to do is you can let the members know how they can support you or what you'll be looking for the membership. That will be a good way to open the forum.
Thank you, Yvonne. Actually, I'm sorry I forgot that on the slides. So right now, as we know, we will be setting up the solar kiosks from February. And so basically right now, I look forward for you members to support us in the following ways. The one way I'll request you guys to feel free, come forward to explore ways you can be able to stock your products or have your products in these solar kiosks, or even have your products in our women's groups so that they can be able to sell them. So by you guys having the confidence to come forward to try and pilot yourselves in your company using these solar kiosks will be the best way possible to ensure we can be able to validate a lot of the assumptions we have with the solar kiosk. Second way is that if you think you find this quite interesting and you want to have your own solar kiosks in your region or your sales region, feel free, come forward. We're able to share the design of the solar kiosks. We're able to sort of give you our feedback and share with you our journey in terms of recruiting the women. So maybe you can have an easy work in terms of setting those up. And if you want, we have a civil engineer. We can even leverage and then see a way and be able to sort of allow a civil engineer to come up and supervise the design of the solar kiosks to ensure that we don't compromise the standard of the solar kiosks, which now will compromise the security. So I think that will be a good way moving forward. And number two, even if you don't have a program, feel free, you can come and visit, ask us where we are, where these solar kiosks are, and feel free, you can come and visit these women. And by you visiting these women, you can be able to explore the viability, you know, of the ideas you have in terms of selling your products. So feel free, we'll share the maps, the Google Maps, where we'll be having our solar kiosks. If you're close there, if you might want to come down there, talk to the women, see how they're doing the day-to-day activities, it might be a good thing to do when we already have set this up. And I think lastly, if maybe you have seen any possibility way beyond what you have shared in terms of partnership with us, feel free to reach out. I think Yvonne might reach to me or Yvonne, and maybe we can be able to push for the partnership sort of conversations further.
Thank you, Justin, for opening the forum and extending the invitation to the members on how they can support this innovative idea. So, do we have any other questions from the team?
I can talk again. It's Gerwin again, and I think it's quiet in this webinar also because we just don't have that many participants. So we'll make sure that the opportunity is extended to all members that were not taking part in this webinar. Like Yvonne said, we will share a replay of the webinar with all other members. So hopefully there's more follow-up also after this webinar. I appreciate your pitch to the GDC members, Justin, to take part in your pilot that is supported by the GDC. And I can imagine for a lot of members, you're not providing maybe the skill that they'd like to see with just 10 solar kiosks in place during this project period in one specific area. But I do know you have a scaling plan based on the learnings from this pilot. So basically, I think what we're looking for is maybe 2 or 3 GDC members saying, hey, we'd be happy, even though the scale is still quite small, we'd be happy to try out placing our products in your retail shops if you provide us with the data and insights on a product market fit. So what do people think of these products, about the price, so that it helps last mile distributors to have a more informed decision on whether this sales area where you are active, Justin, is also interesting for them. So yeah, we echo your invitation to GDC members to join this pilot period to test this concept of renting a shelf that Justin is offering. So yeah, I think the contact details, Yvonne, maybe it's good to share email. So on the last slide, yeah, it's showing the email addresses of Yvonne and Justin. So if you're keen to explore this collaboration opportunity in the pilot period, which is basically from now until end of 2020, then do reach out to us.
Thank you, Harwin. I see a question, a hand that has been raised by Joe.
Yes, I just had one last question. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. So I know you mentioned that these women receive training on, sales support, distribution, door-to-door marketing. I was wondering if your model includes consideration for after-sales support, so things like customer care, minor repairs. Some of these services are unlikely to be administered by local women. So is that something you expect the LMDs to sort of take care of themselves?
Actually, that's a good question, actually. I think the way we are viewing that right now is basically because the women are not conversant of your products. That's the first in terms of usability and even after customer support. So one way you might want to train the women to offer after sales support to your customers of your products, or you might want to do it directly. So I think it's an open conversation, which I think we can pursue together with the women and the organization to see what is the best way possible, which is also lean, at the same time. So again, as I told you, the solar kiosks will be run by women. So that's why we feel like it's good to have this conversation round between you, and the women to ensure we can come up with the best model on that particular product at that point.
Okay, yeah, thanks for answering that question.
Welcome.
Thank you, Justin, for that response. So I guess with regards to what we've discussed and the slide that's put up, so you can reach out to Justin through the email that has been shared on the screen, and myself as well for any questions and follow-ups. And we should be able to discuss on the progress as well. And some of the results we normally share in the GDC newsletter that's in the GDC website. And for the next webinar, we will have with Ecobora as well to just share the pilot progress and to share more with the members on what they can replicate in their own landscapes will be shared in the newsletter and in the GDC website as well. So from myself, I'd like to say thank you for making time to join in the webinar. And yes, thank you, Justin, for taking time to share this with our members.
Thank you so much, Yvonne, for this webinar, and thank you so much for the members who are able to take time to join and listen to innovation. And I will look forward to partner and ensure that we can be able to empower communities through our life-changing products.
That's a great ending, Justin. Thanks. And just want to let everyone know that on Friday, this Friday, we'll have another webinar in which another winning ID from this first round of the Innovation Challenge will present what they'll be doing. So it's our GDC member, Mwezi, that will talk about a sales tool that they're developing to capacitate their sales agents on sales of drip irrigation, solar powered drip irrigation as a new product in the basket of Mwezi sales agents. So tune in again for the webinar on Friday if you're interested in that one as well.